I think policy is still a really huge barrier to racial equity in our region. And we need more elected officials that understand that and are willing to change that in order to help us get ahead. We need change agents, people, systems, organizations at every level willing to talk about racial equity and be real about the impacts that racial inequity has on our region and to figure out what their role is. A lot of this goes back to why I felt compelled to run for this position. August 9th, 2014, when Michael Brown was killed and everything that ensued afterwards, I think, put out a very clear call for the kind of leadership that our region needs. And I was disappointed at the time I decided to run for office that we hadn't seen more bold leadership responding to that crisis and the deep wounds it exposed in our region. And that's part of why I decided to run. So for me, it felt natural to center racial equity and anti-racism in my campaign and even the work that I'm trying to do now as an elected official, because that was so, part and parcel to why I decided to do it and such a big piece of what I felt was lacking in some ways. I felt like my messages around racial equity and anti-racism were something that resonated very well in my district. I mean, if you look at the data, I beat my opponent by 22 points. And I think that says something too, because I have some very wealthy areas in my district. I represent, pieces of St. Louis County that tend to be more well-to-do. The pieces right around Washington University, Clayton, which is, kind of the second downtown here in the region, Webster Groves, Maplewood. And so I think that underscores, my victory and the, 18,000 votes of support that I got does tell a story here about what people want to be true in our region and what they're willing to get behind to make it be true. What's different now compared to August of 2014 is I think more and more people, especially people that look like me and my family, are willing to look in the mirror and to try to understand what role they have played and what role they can play as we move St. Louis forward to a place that is more equitable.